Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome in Tuesday, February the 24th, 2026. I am Chris Phillips. This is the Chris Phillips Show. We have got a ton to discuss here on this Tuesday. Really appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Everything from this is off to a brilliant start already. Let's see. Nope. Where's the mic? Okay, we are off to quite an auspicious start here on the show. I will say this before we get going. Whoever made the feature on the iPhone where the iPhone microphone connects to your MacBook should be shot. And that's not an overstatement, but should be shot. Like legitimately. I do apologize once again for the technical difficulties. Hey, you roll with the punches, you fight through adversity. Either way, we are here. We are rocking. We are rolling here on this Tuesday, February the 24th, 2026. Like I mentioned, this is the Chris Phillips Show. I am Chris Phillips. Really appreciate you all tuning in. We have got a jam-packed show for you all here on this Tuesday. Everything from top 5 college baseball rivalries in the spirit of rivalry week on the diamond. We do have a couple of these series taking place this week, and I'm going to give you all my top 5 rivalries in college baseball. Spoiler, a lot of SEC rivalries that are mentioned. Also, SEC baseball power rankings here on the show today. It is Tuesday. Every Tuesday I drop my SEC baseball power rankings. Also, we're going to talk this Josh Pate, Donald Trump thing, this interview that has taken the internet by storm. I think there's some lessons to be learned from it. I've got less takes on the interview itself and more so on the aftermath. And again, I think some things that content creators especially, but I think that we can all learn from what has taken place. All that much more, your questions, your comments, guys. Really appreciate you all tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out where we get your podcasts all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at Underdog. Download the Underdog app. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Once again, that's our friends over at Underdog. Promo code SECU to get $75 in bonus entries today. Like I mentioned, I am Chris Phillips. This is the Chris Phillips Show as we get the link out on social media here. For those of you who are listening via podcast, we appreciate you all tuning in. Again, a very auspicious start to the show today. Had some technical difficulties out the gate, But we are here. We are rocking. We are rolling. And again, I cannot say thank you all enough. My guy, Jeremy Scott, is in the chat. He says, Roll Tide. What's up, Jeremy? Appreciate you tuning in. We've also got BW Pro that says, what's up? Mobley says, what's going on? Pac-Man SC, hit that like button. Appreciate you, my friend. Yeah, Mobley, we had technical difficulties out of the gate. Pac-Man said, should be an interesting take. I assume you're talking about the Josh Pate, Donald Trump thing. Yeah, listen, I can tell you this, and when I say it, I mean it. It will not be political in the slightest. Here's one thing, guys. You will never, for the most part, I would say, hear us ever talk about politics on this show. It will not be political at all. Really just more so thoughts on the content itself. And again, the aftermath to it. And again, I think there's some lessons from it we can learn, but again, more on that later in the show. Really, really exciting stuff today, guys. I am pumped before we get going. Couple quick housekeeping items, really one big one. The SEC Unfiltered Tour, in case you missed it, we did announce yesterday, we will be in Arlington, Texas for the Amagi Bank College Baseball Series. Really, really excited, guys. I mean, this weekend of college baseball. I know many of you have tuned in to Glue Guys, obviously, and our college baseball show. We're off and running, and my guy Anthony Renato and we're having a blast doing it. I'm telling you, this weekend's college baseball lineup is incredible. Is absolutely incredible. Like, you've got everything from, we've got the Arlington tournament, we've got the Houston tournament that Texas is in and Ole Miss is in as well. Alabama, I believe, is in Frisco. Vandy is in Las Vegas. You've got Florida, Miami, and you've got South Carolina, Clemson. Also, you've got Auburn, Nebraska, which I think is a very underrated series as well. So literally, Glue Guys on Thursday, I mean, it might be a 3-hour show. Now, it won't really, but you get what I'm saying. Like, trying to cram all that in there, it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to be quite the challenge because there's going to be a lot to get into. I mean, there's going to be a ton to get into. I see my guy Sandman in here as well. Guys, of course, as always today, as we always do, we're taking your questions, your comments, everything in between. My guy Chinook is in the chat as well. He says Chris will be the secretary of technical difficulties. I would. There's no doubt. Technical difficulties just follows us. Chris has his game warden Saturday attire at home combo on. Dude, this is from a vintage shop in Nashville, bro. This is from a vintage shop in Nashville. But this vintage shirt, Chinook, you can actually read the text on it. So it says Tennessee Wild. Yeah, I like this fit. I actually really like this fit a lot. No, you missed it, Chinook, at the beginning, or maybe you didn't. But, dude, again, whoever created the feature, this should be a PSA too. Whoever created the feature where you're trying to connect to your microphone on your Mac and it's for some reason connects to your iPhone microphone, whoever created that feature, I wish nothing but the worst things for you on a daily basis. It is the most useless, pointless, makes my life only difficult feature. That's it. That's all it does. It just makes things more difficult because for some reason my Mac then cannot find the microphone that I'm trying to use for the next like 10 minutes. I don't get it. I really don't understand what the function of that is. I don't get why nobody asked. It's a function that literally nobody asked for. I don't need it. BW Pro says, love being in Arlington last weekend. Yeah, I can't wait to get there. War Damn Eagle, he says. Yeah, Auburn, I know you had a fun weekend. Auburn went 3-0. Says, when y'all are in Arlington, make sure you check out Texas Live. Yeah, I went to this tournament last year, by the way. Had a really good time. Texas Live is sick, and my Airbnb is awesome. It's right there next to the stadium. It's going to be a blast, man, because like even Jacksonville this past weekend where I went watching LSU, you know, we just had the LSU game. And the rest of the weekend was one game a day, right? So there was a lot of free time to kill, which was good, and that wasn't bad, but it was just different. This weekend, dude, it is non-stop baseball. I mean, I think the games are like 11, 3, and 7. It's SEC game, SEC game, SEC game, every single slot for all 3 days. So I got the late flight out of Arlington Sunday night too, like super late. so I can stay and at least watch most of the final game. So I will be getting in town Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, locked in for all 3 days in Arlington, and certainly locked in on all of the other baseball as well, because there's going to be tons of other college baseball. We're going to be in the influencer suite at the stadium. I'm going to have to bring my laptop in there and like be streaming the other games, because there's just so much other good baseball on. I mean, so much other good baseball on. BW Pro says Tennessee Wild shirt, pretty fitting after this past weekend. Yeah, they had a pretty rough weekend, didn't they? The Vols did. Mobley says it's better than purple and gold. We got LSU hate in the chat. We've been getting a lot of LSU hate on Glue Guys, which those of you who hate LSU and hate LSU leading off our show will be very relieved to know that at least at minimum this Thursday and next Monday, and probably Friday Night Spikes, LSU will not be leading off the show. They will not. We will lead it off with where we are going, which is Arlington. We'll lead it off with that tournament talk. LSU is probably going to be the 5th or 6th topic of conversation, because all due respect, they played Dartmouth. How much are we going to have to talk about from a series against Dartmouth? Probably not a lot, unless LSU loses. It's the only way. So rest assured, those who hate LSU will not lead off our show on Thursday and Friday and Monday. It will not. My guy Chinook takes a lot of offense to that. Players hate, player haters ball, hate. I'm just saying, like, we've been catching a lot of flack for it. I'm like, dude, it's because we were in Jacksonville. It's because we were in Jacksonville, you know? Chinook says, stop at HEB, get yourself some Chinook seeds. Yeah, I mean, are y'all not supplying that tournament with Chinook seeds, my guy? Sandman says, Hurtado Barbecue in Arlington, Texas. Thank me later. Is that close to the stadium, Sandman? Is that close to the stadium? He says, driver to Fort Worth to Golden's Barbecue, Joe T. Garcia's in Billy Bob's, Texas. One thing Texas does many things well, but one thing y'all definitely do well, food, my guy. Texas does some damn food. By the way, did y'all know, for my Texas folks out there, we are getting a Terry Black's in Nashville. They are building it right now. We are getting a Terry Black's. I wonder what the crowd is going to be like and what the quality is going to be like. If it's just like the one in Austin, brother, I'm set. I am set. I am so excited for that Terry Black's to be finished and to be operating. I actually had the In-N-Out here last week, and I tell you, I don't know if I was just starving, but man, that In-N-Out was fire. It was 2 weeks ago, actually. 2 weeks ago. It was before my Vegas trip. That shit was fire. By the way, I'll say this too on the note of the Vegas trip, and then we'll get into the topics, I promise. We got a lot to discuss. Appreciate y'all rolling with the punches over the last week or so. You know, obviously being in Vegas, the show that I did last week was much, much later than normal. And the reasoning for that, I will tell you now. Again, I felt like this time last week, or around this time last week when I did my show in Vegas, my brain was complete mush. My brain was complete mush. I mean, guys, I'll just give you some insight. Monday night, I was out till like 6 a.m. Pacific time. I mean, it was literally 5:30 in the morning, and I'm texting my guy Chinook over here. He's in the car line somewhere, and I'm like, dude, I'm still at the casino. So as you can imagine, I was feeling pretty banged up on Tuesday of last week. And then, of course, Friday, we were in Jacksonville. My buddies invited me to come out on the boat. It's like one of those things like, man, you know, I mean, listen, we're probably going to have to call an audible on Friday too, guys, because, listen, we've got the tournament. And the first game's at 11. I mean, when am I going to do the show? I guess I could go back to the Airbnb and knock it out real quick. I guess that's a possibility. But, I mean, I feel like I don't know. We'll figure all that out when we get on Friday. But there is a good chance, I would say 100% chance, we're going to be calling an audible on Friday. But, yeah, I just appreciate y'all rolling the punches, man. I always have fun doing this show, and y'all seem to have fun tuning into it. So Kyle says, Chris, why do you dislike Coastal so much? Kyle, I had zero problem with Coastal up until last year. No problem with Coastal Carolina. Why would I dislike Coastal Carolina just off a whim? I'm from the state of South Carolina. Got a lot of folks that I've interacted with that I like that live up there in Myrtle Beach, around the Conway area. Have no reason to dislike Coastal, but Coastal took it upon themselves last year. And listen, I made a pick and it didn't go my way, and they got every right to do what they did, but Coastal folks went out of their way. Coastal, the university, went out of their way to make a diss tape on me, and that's totally fine. But if you can do that, then I'm going to have some fun back, and we've created a little bit of a rivalry here. So I hope Texas beats the ever-loving shit out of Coastal Carolina on Friday night. I hope Coastal Carolina misses the postseason, and if they make the postseason, I hope they face an SEC team, and they're eliminated flat out. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's all good. It's just a fun rivalry, fun banter. That's what it's become. I never expected it. I never asked for it, but it is what it is. It's all fun and games. And by the way, I met a ton of great Coastal folks in Omaha last year that were awesome. But I mean, it's whatever. I don't have. Here's the thing. I don't have true deep hatred of Coastal Carolina. I stay awake at night thinking about Kevin Schnall and the Shants. I really don't. Because if I really hated Coastal, I call them the Shants just to be a dickhead. But I really don't have that level of hatred, but it's just, listen, somebody's got to be the villain, I suppose. I picked Coastal to lose out in that regional in Conway. They didn't. I picked them to lose in the Super and was pretty colorful with the way I said it. They didn't. It's all in good fun, man. It's all a good time, but I need Texas to dominate Coastal on Friday. I really do. Riley says Coastal talks the most shit just to lose. I mean, they've won a College World Series. You got to give them credit. They've won a College World Series. Sandman says, is Coastal where kids go that can't get into Clemson or South Carolina? I don't know, because South Carolina is pretty easy to get into. So, I don't think it's like a fallback screw from that standpoint. I mean, it's a fun place, dude. You're literally going to school near the ocean. I mean, Coastal Carolina is a very, very fun school to attend. I mean, listen, I'm from the Palmetto State, so I can tell you, Coastal's a blast. I mean, Coastal's an absolute blast. So, guys, on that note, I want to get in this topic. Really, really fun topic. Really fun topic in the spirit of what feels like rivalry weekend in college baseball. This essentially feels like it is rivalry weekend. So I thought, why not? Let's talk top 5 rivalries in college baseball. Now, admittedly, I could have just made this top 5 SEC baseball rivalries, because I'll be honest with you guys, and you know what? I don't really care. There's going to be people from other conferences that are pissed off at me for this list. Like, for example, Oregon State didn't make this list. Would y'all consider that a top 5 rivalry in college baseball? Is USC UCLA a top 5 rivalry in college baseball? Is maybe an Arizona State? Maybe that could have been one. I won't hate you if you throw Arizona State in the top 5. But I'm an SEC man. SEC is what I know. And so, when it comes to these rivalries in the SEC, this is where the passion is the greatest. The fan bases are the greatest. The level of the play is the greatest. So it just makes sense that the rivalries are the greatest. So without further ado, these are my top 5 rivalries in all of college baseball, starting at number 5. This one almost didn't make my top 5 because it's not a weekend series, and that irks me. Let's get this series back to being a series instead of this weird thing we're doing. We're playing these games in the midweek, because at number 5 for me, I've got Florida State. These two teams loathe each other, despise each other. I could have put Florida Miami in this slot, but I'll admit, guys, I was at the Florida Miami series last year. There's hatred in that, but I think there's a more deep-rooted hatred with Florida State. They play every single year. We need to move this series to the weekend. Flat out, we need to move this series to the weekend. They're playing it right now on Tuesdays on midweek games throughout the season. That is why it's so low. Otherwise, the passion from this series is as high as any. The hatred, obviously. I mean, Florida State doesn't matter the sport. These two hate each other. It'd be higher if it was a weekend series, but because it's in the midweek, that's why it's so low. But at number 5, Florida State, one of the best rivalries in all of college baseball. At number 4, some of you are going to think this is way too low, but what you're going to notice in this top 5, I value in-state rivalries. So at number 4 for me, I've got LSU, Mississippi State. It's one of the best in college baseball, no doubt. I value in-state rivalries more than anything. I think there's something different about an in-state rivalry. I think there's something really special. But certainly, it's two of the best fan bases in college baseball. It's seemingly every single year these two teams are at the top of the college baseball world. And I think with Brian O'Connor in Starkville now, this rivalry is going to get back to what it was, which is being certainly one of the best in the sport. LSU, their success, where they stand in the college baseball world speaks for itself. And certainly, again, Mississippi State, especially when you get this series in Starkville at the Dude. I mean, Alex Box is no slouch either. It's two fantastic stadiums. It's two fantastic fan bases. It's two fantastic programs. LSU, Mississippi State, absolutely a top 5 rivalry in college baseball. I don't even think you're crazy if you say it's the best one. At number 3, I've got Texas and Texas A&M. Guys, any rivalry where one side steals the other's head coach, I mean, that's got to be in the top 5, guys. I mean, the hatred between the Horns and the Aggies matches anyone. It matches anyone out there. The series this year where Texas has to go to College Station, Jim Schlossnagle's first ever return trip to Bluebell Park is going to be pure cinema. I know these two didn't play for a while, obviously, because Texas A&M goes over to the SEC. I'm so glad these two are playing each other every single year again. This is one, college baseball is better when we get this series on a yearly basis. There is no love lost, Texas and Texas A&M. And again, that Jim Schlossnagle thing going from the Aggies to the Horns only fuels this rivalry as one of the best in college baseball. How many rivalries can say that where you've had a coach go from one side to the other? It's pure hatred. It's pure hatred and disdain on both sides, and that's what makes a rivalry great. At number 2, I've got Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I don't think people outside of the state of the Mississippi really understand the hatred that these two sides have for each other. Doesn't matter the sport, doesn't matter the event. These two could be playing ping pong for all I care. If it's Ole Miss and it's Mississippi State, there's something on the line. These two absolutely despise each other. The absolute intensity that comes with this series is unlike any other, essentially, it feels as if in college baseball. It's number 2 for me. When the Rebels and the Dogs go after it, man, it's must-see TV. It's always must-see TV. I think Ole Miss, Mississippi State, no matter the sport, it's one of the most underrated rivalries in college sports, not just college baseball. And it sits at number 2 for me. And at number 1, yes, there's some bias here. There's absolutely some bias because I grew up in the Palmetto State. I've attended this rivalry firsthand. And this rivalry, listen, you could argue. Here's what I try to do with these. I try to remove, well, when both teams are good, this is how the rivalry shakes out. Because every rivalry I've mentioned has had at least one side of the rivalry, if not both at times, not be at an elite level, right? So I just try to go like either remove that completely or be fair and be equal and say when they're all at their peak, this is the best rivalry. So I know there's some bias here, but number 1 for me, the best rivalry in college baseball is South Carolina Clemson. The format they have right now, 1 game at Founders Park, 1 game at Doug Kingsmore Stadium, and then 1 game at a neutral site, whether it's Greenville or it's Columbia, I think is a great setup. If you've never been to this series, it is really hard to explain to someone the intensity that you feel for 3 days. Guys, it's a super regional atmosphere. And you think back to all the great battles in Omaha, I think the postseason history really adds the fuel to the fire and really helps solidify why this rivalry is the best in college baseball. You go back to the early 2000s when South Carolina knocked out Clemson in Omaha. Then you fast forward to 2010 when it was Michael Roth and Jackie Bradley and Christian Walker and Whit Merrifield, and when South Carolina had to beat Clemson twice to get to the finals to then win it all and win their first national championship. These two have tangled up so much in the postseason. And again, for a regular season series, and you could argue too, like not always the case, but this series, it feels like early on really defines what the season is going to be like. And I can tell you this, it defines how each fan base feels about their team and how they feel about their baseball season moving forward. It's such a momentum swing one way or the other. If you haven't been to one, I highly suggest you go. South Carolina, Clemson, it's unlike any other rivalry in college baseball. I mean, storied history and tradition. I know each of these programs has gone through the ringer, and that could essentially knock the rivalry down just a peg. But I'm telling you, when it's at its best, it's the best rivalry in college baseball, hands down. So my top five: Florida State at 5, LSU, Mississippi State at 4, Texas A&M at 3, Ole Miss, Mississippi State at 2, and number 1, I've got South Carolina, Clemson, my top 5 college baseball rivalries. Like I mentioned, I'm fully willing to embrace there is some bias there with that last one. There is some bias on my number 1. You know who just missed the cut, by the way, who I thought could have made it? Tennessee Vandy has become one hell of a rivalry. It really has. I mean, there's a lot of hatred. I think with Tony Vitello, Tennessee Vandy's a top 5 college baseball rivalry. Without him, I don't know that it is. I don't know that without Tony Vitello, Tennessee and Vanderbilt is still one of the best rivalries in college baseball. I just don't know that it is. I really don't. So, again, those are my top 5 guys. I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts. Can't wait to watch all these rivalries, man. I mean, and I'll tell you this too. Again, some bias, but I hope that South Carolina and Clemson, I mean, I know Clemson's been solid, but I hope these two can both get back to being respectable. More so on the South Carolina side. Clemson is at that point. I mean, obviously, I think they were a top 8 national seed last year. They've been knocking on the door of getting back to a super and getting back to Omaha. I hope South Carolina can return to a respectable level because, I mean, obviously, the rivalry's not fun when one side's just despicable. And, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in a rivalry series, but more than likely, Clemson's going to beat South Carolina this weekend. And, the energy around the program and the team right now is it's just brutal. It's not very good. So, Christy Wallace says, Razorback fan here. For sure, the LSU rivalry in baseball is with Arkansas, and I'm sure LSU fans will agree. Yeah, I mean, listen, LSU-Arkansas definitely could have been a top 5 rivalry in college baseball. No doubt. No doubt. I think back to last year being at that game, being at the LSU-Arkansas game in Omaha. I mean, and that's the thing, guys. Is like, that's why I didn't feel like you don't have to go outside of the SEC to talk top 5 rivalries in college baseball. You really don't. You really don't. Riley says, wouldn't be surprised if it's 18,000 or more at Super Bulldog weekend this year. And there's a good chance yours truly is going to be there as well. Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine that weekend's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be absolutely crazy. State and LSU for Super Bulldog weekend is going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. Riley says, just love poking fun at Ole Miss, just like LSU fans in football. No doubt. Yeah. Listen, the beauty's in the banter, man. It's all about the trash talk. Landon says, State and Ole Miss are both bad in 2023 and broke the all-time attendance record. It always means something no matter what. Yeah, I do remember that, actually. Excuse me. I do remember that. Yeah, they were both terrible in 2023. That's it. Listen, here's the deal with that top 5, too. Any of those top 5, essentially, maybe Florida State would be a tough sell, but any of those top 4, you could argue number 1. I mean, really, truly, like it's any of those could be number 1. I mean, I know LSU and State folks think that's number 1. So I'm excited not to play spoiler. I mean, that's the one I'm looking forward to, and I think that's the one I'm going to go to for my trip to the Dude. My first ever trip to Duty Noble will be down for Super Bulldog weekend and LSU Mississippi State. Really looking forward to it, man. It's going to be electric. Dalton says, Paul Maneri said the boys got a good night's rest and will be ready to go. Let's hope so, man. Let's hope the team is rested up and ready to go. All right, that being said, guys, it is Tuesday. Every single Tuesday, I drop my latest SEC baseball power rankings. So without further ado, let's do that. It was a very interesting weekend in the SEC and a lot of change, some movement in my power ranking. So again, we are 2 weekends in when it comes to the SEC baseball season. So without further ado, these are my latest SEC baseball power rankings as we break down each of my selections. Starting at number 16, we've got a new team at the bottom, believe it or not. I've got the South Carolina Gamecocks, guys. I don't think it's a reach to say South Carolina is the worst team in the conference. And I understand, listen, South Carolina bounces back. They win Saturday and Sunday. They had their Salute the Troops weekend, what have you. But that loss they had Friday to Army, guys, was as ugly as it gets. I think it's time to blow up the Paul Maneri thing. I think it's time to completely blow the program up and start over. Paul Maneri's not the long-term answer. Like, again, this isn't breaking news to anyone. And Paul Maneri was brought in to win and win at a high level quickly. And they haven't even come close to doing that. Like I mentioned, I know you win Saturday and Sunday. I get it. Kudos to you. You beat Air Force and you beat Navy. I just, it's going nowhere fast, guys. It's going nowhere fast. And at this point right now, I didn't know that we'd have another team outside of Mizzou be number 16, but that is where South Carolina is this week. Number 15, I do have the Missouri Tigers, and you got to give credit where credit's due to Mizzou. They are on a winning streak. How about Mizzou getting the sweep over the weekend? Listen, are they going to stay in this 15 slot long? I have no idea, but we got to give credit where credit's due. Again, Missouri's playing some good baseball. They've won every game, I believe, since opening day when they had that opening day loss. I know it's against inferior competition, but when you're Missouri, a win is a win is a win. Let's give MIZ some credit. Congratulations, MIZ, for not being in the 16 spot. They come in at number 15. At number 14, I got the Alabama Crimson Tide. Guys, I love Justin LeBron. Dude's a baller. Could be the 1-1 pick in the MLB draft. Could win the Golden Spikes. I still have some questions regarding their pitching staff. Tyler Fay, Zane Adams. We'll see. We got a long way to go. Bama's just one for me. Like, I really need to see them do it against better competition. And they're going to have an opportunity this weekend when they go to Las Vegas. They're going to see some better competition. Great prove-it weekend potential upcoming for the Crimson Tide. At number 13, I've got the Tennessee Volunteers. They are obviously the biggest fallers from over the weekend, the only team in the SEC that lost their weekend series. I definitely think there's some things to be concerned about. I don't know if it's something you really hit the panic button on. I think Tennessee could still very well end up being a really good ball club, but some uncharacteristic mistakes. Your bats go cold on Saturday. Your bullpen falters on Sunday. This is life post Tony Vitello, man. Again, I don't think this means you're doomed for a horrendous season, but you've kind of lost that invincibility that you once had. And it's like, Tennessee's very gettable now. Tennessee is very, very gettable without Tony Vitello. It's like Alabama football without Nick Saban. Kalen DeBoer's still a good coach, but Bama's gettable now. They're not so scary anymore, right? They're not so intimidating. I kind of see Tennessee baseball as the same way. Josh Elander's going to be a good coach, whether it's at Tennessee for the next 10 years or if he goes somewhere else, but he ain't Tony V. And Tony V was the thing that made Tennessee baseball what they were. So I'm really intrigued to see how this team responds to adversity. We're going to get a firsthand look at them in Arlington, Texas. Should be a lot of fun. We will learn a lot about this club. There's no doubt. At number 12, I've got the Kentucky Wildcats, guys. Kentucky drops a game to Evansville. Ho-hum. They do win the series, though. Still like this Kentucky team a lot. There's just some teams right now that I think are showing more than the Cats. Also suffered a midweek loss since the last time we did these power rankings. So Kentucky at 12 for me. I've got Ole Miss at number 11. Again, it's crazy to have them this low. It's just, this is the SEC on the diamond. It's jam-packed. It's competitive. There's so many good middle-of-the-pack teams. Ole Miss might end up having the best lineup in the SEC, at least one of them. That 2-3-4 they've got and the depth of their lineup is so impressive. Hunter Elliott, excited to watch him this weekend, see if he can have a bounce-back start. Did not have a great start last Friday. Not something I'm worried about, but when you got a guy like that leading your rotation with a lineup they have, Ole Miss is your prototypical scary 16-14 SEC team. Like, with their schedule, they're probably going to be hovering around 500, but they are going to be a team, brother, you do not want to see them in postseason play. You do not want to see the Ole Miss Rebels in your regional. At number 10, I've got the Georgia Bulldogs. Not sure who Wes Johnson was upset about, by the way, over the weekend. I don't think it was us. But either way, I hope he's not upset that I have them at number 10. Love the lineup. It's typical Georgia baseball. They hit a ton of home runs. We got one guy in our comments, by the way, just hates the fact that we don't spend more time talking about the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, listen, it's very ho-hum business-like. I mean, how long do you want us to spend when Georgia is just beating the ever-living hell out of people? Hoping the best for Kenny Ishikawa. Hopefully he gets back sooner rather than later. This guy, obviously an electric factor and a really exciting player. I think Georgia guys could shoot up these rankings. I'm excited to see Georgia when they run into some competition that I think can actually give them a challenge. That's the big thing. Other than that, though, I love this Georgia club, love this Georgia team. I love Wes Johnson's energy. Right now, though, got him at 10. Number 9, I've got Texas A&M. The Aggies jump up a few spots. I like what I'm seeing from A&M from the standpoint, guys. Again, that series against Penn, you can look at it one of two ways. Oh, they had to walk off Penn. Wow, what happened to the Bats in the first 2 games? Or you can look at it as, how about the pitching staff? And the fact that Texas A&M, those are games that I think they maybe would have lost last year. Like, you got to have some gumption about you. You got to have some stones about you to stare that adversity in the face and find a way to win. Give them credit for doing that. They weren't able to do that last year. Again, I am super pumped to get a look at them in person. We will see them in Arlington, Texas at the tournament. I think you got to be encouraged by A&M by what you're seeing on the mound. Really, truly, because A&M's going to hit. They're going to. If they're able to pitch at this level, I know it was Penn, although Penn is a really solid Ivy League club. If they're able to pitch at this level, Texas A&M is going to be really, really dangerous moving forward. At number 8, I've got the Vanderbilt Commodores. Guys, Vandy has 22 home runs at this point in the season. Do you realize at this point last year, Vanderbilt had 5? They had 5 home runs at this point in the season last year. Think about how crazy that is. The power surge has been awesome. You know Vanderbilt's going to pitch. I really like this Vandy team, man. I really like this Vandy team. There's so many different guys contributing as well. We had folks telling us before the season that they thought Vandy could hit 100 home runs on the season. I thought he was crazy. Sure enough, here we are. How about them Doors? At number 7, I've got the Florida Gators. Florida has looked really, really good since their opening day loss to UAB. Kevin O'Sullivan returns to the dugout, obviously. They've been rolling offensively, though. You could talk about the pitching staff, and Liam Peterson bounced back in a big way, had the double-digit strikeouts against Kennesaw State. But, dude, the offense has been crazy. Cash Strayer looks like a future big leaguer. Brendan Lawson's been great for them. Kyle Jones and his return has been great. So many dudes up and down that lineup that are contributing in a big way. Florida looks really, really, really dangerous right now. Number 6, I've got the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Starting rotation looks incredible. Ace Reese is a man possessed, and he's a guy that I think if you haven't, put your bets in for Golden Spikes. Yeah, this Mississippi State team is really good. Again, this is another one. I cannot wait to get a firsthand look at Mississippi State in Arlington. I'm super pumped. You know Mississippi State fans are going to show up and show out for this tournament too. That's going to be a lot of fun. But getting a firsthand look at them, man, I am so stoked because this team is really, really good and really, really talented, and they're going to win a lot of ball games this season. Number 5, I've got the Arkansas Razorbacks. Still really high on Arkansas, obviously. Like what I'm seeing, the kid Colin Fisher on Sunday throwing the CG one-hitter. I think that's a great sign for them in the Sunday spot. Had to walk off Xavier on Saturday. I think give Xavier credit. They are a scrappy club. They're certainly playing one of the most difficult schedules in college baseball in the non-conference. I like this Arkansas team a lot. Not to spend too much time, but I've been really high on them. I still think Arkansas is one of the favorites to win the league, and I'd still say right now, as of today, they still are my pick to win the regular season. Number 4, the biggest riser for us, and I think well-deserving, I've got the Auburn Tigers after sweeping through the weekend in Arlington, including a pair of ranked wins against Florida State and Louisville. Why did we ever doubt Butch Thompson, man? Why did we ever doubt him? What this starting rotation has done has been incredibly impressive. What they're doing without Chris Rimbert swinging the stick is incredibly impressive. Again, it's kind of like both 3 and 4 in my power rankings, we can use the same sentiment for. Why do we doubt them? Because they've got a proven winner at head coach that always does more with less. And I'm not saying less to be disrespectful, because both these rosters, and this roster certainly for Auburn has a lot of talent, but lower expectations. People kind of think of baseball as an afterthought at these two schools because it's such a football-heavy school, and even sometimes basketball, depending on the school. Don't forget about baseball, man. Butch Thompson is one of the best in the country, and certainly he's showing that yet again. At number 3, speaking of, I got the Oklahoma Sooners. Skip Johnson falls right in that same bucket. One of the best coaches of college baseball. Poor Coppin State, who they ran into, that I think they scored more than 20 runs in like back-to-back games, which is just nuts, to be honest. Oklahoma, again, one of the best teams in the country, I think, right now. I think they're still underrated. I think you could put them in the top 10 in college baseball with the way they're playing. Oklahoma has been a really fun story to this point, and excited to see them keep it rolling. I mean, again, Butch Thompson, what Cam Johnson's doing in that starting role on Friday night, he's been awesome. Mercurius as well on Saturday. They got so many new guys and young guys they're excited about in the lineup that are contributing. Oklahoma, till we see otherwise, definitely deserves to be near the top of the list. And then our top 2 guys, and this to me feels like the elites of the elites right now. Number 2, I've got the Texas Longhorns. They're as complete as anyone in college baseball. I mean, guys, find me the holes on this team. Hell, find me the question marks on this team. The pitching staff's been electric. Their pitching depth with their bullpen's been awesome. Up and down their lineup, they got guys that are absolutely crushing the baseball. They sweep Michigan State over the weekend. I think the thing I've been most impressed by is Ruger Riojas on Friday nights. I mean, this dude, he was solid last year. And what people didn't realize, I heard this on the broadcast on Friday, he lost a bunch of weight because he got sick. Dude, he looks healthy. He's just on Sunday. Like, what? That's a cheat code, man. That's unfair to have a guy like that on a Sunday. And he's pitched incredibly well to this point. I mean, who else in the SEC is going to try on a guy on a Sunday like that? Very few. Very, very, very few. So Texas they look awesome. They look every bit the part. And at number 1, guys, the team in Ville over the weekend, I do have the LSU Tigers. Once again, guys, you want to be number 1, you got to beat number 1. And until I see otherwise, LSU deserves all the credit. I mean, guys, that lineup is stupid deep. The pitching staff, you could say the same thing. I do think LSU still has a question mark in their number 1 starter role. And I don't have any doubts that Ktaeem Evans can't evolve into that role and be that guy. But if you look at LSU's pitching staff through the first 2 weekends, Cooper Moore and William Schmidt have both been very efficient. It almost made it look easy. Ktaeem Evans has struggled a little bit. And I know I'm nitpicking. Like, has he pitched bad? No, he hasn't pitched bad, but like, you have to overanalyze, guys, when you're evaluating these non-conference series. I mean, even the Jacksonville weekend, like, LSU was so much better than all 3 of those teams. They really were. So Ktaeem Evans' stuff is electric. It is elite. But will he be efficient enough to be that guy in SEC play? Because if you're falling behind in counts and you're walking guys, you're not going to live to tell the tale when it comes to SEC baseball. I have no doubts that he won't get it going, but I think if you're really nitpicking and you're asking yourself a question for LSU, I think the way the pitching staff evolves from that standpoint will be interesting. But again, guys, they're just, I mean, the big takeaway for LSU, seeing them in person, they're so incredibly deep. They're so incredibly deep. They really are. So LSU at number 1 for me through 2 weeks of play. But guys, love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? How would you power rank the teams of the SEC as we enter weekend number 3 of action. Guys, as we prepare to close out the show, I do want to, and let's see, I want to go to this comment here because I kind of agree with you. C15 Schultz says, I predict Texas versus LSU in the Omaha finals. I like that. I like that. Yeah, I could see. I don't know why this, by the way, the comment thing wasn't telling me that I had comments, but yes, I could see Texas, LSU, and Omaha, no doubt. BW Pro says Texas pitching staff freaks me out. They're so deep, dude. They're so deep. I mean, it's yeah, they're so deep. So, Chris today has Realtree in his top. Dude, this is not a hunting shirt, Chinook. It's not a hunting shirt. It's just a duck, brother. It's just a duck. Chinook says, wow, Chinook is going to depress everyone on the show today. He says, we're about 7 games away from being a quarter of the way through the season. Time doesn't make sense during sports. I mean, Chinook, that's what we've talked about, though, right? Is that you look at the college baseball season, you're like, man, like June's forever away, man. Like, I mean, dude, we got this long season, 60 games. It's really not, dude. The season like that. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we'll be talking conference play literally that fast. And then we're going to be talking about SEC tournament before you know it. Before you know it, we're going to be like, man, we're only 3 weeks away from the SEC tournament, which I'm certainly not rushing the season by any means. But, guys, I'm so ready for it to get warm that I'm like, bring it on. Bring it on. I'm excited for it. I really am. All right. In closing, let's tackle this. I got to be honest with you guys. I really debated. I got to be honest. I really debated whether I wanted to discuss this on my show or not. Because does it really need any additional commentary from me? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But let's face it. It's one of the top stories in the sports world right now, especially the college sports world, which is the space that I live in. And that being, of course, the Josh Pate, Donald Trump conversation that took place that aired officially on, I believe, was that Sunday night that it aired? I believe it was Sunday night that it officially aired. And there's been a lot of aftermath, and I'm really glad that I'm talking about this here on this Tuesday, and it didn't give like an immediate reaction to it, because I think what the aftermath of it all has been just as interesting, if not more interesting, than, you know, the days leading up to it or even the conversation itself. I did finally sit down today and watched the conversation with Josh Pate and Donald Trump, about a 10-minute conversation or so. Watch some of the aftermath of him talking about why he did it, et cetera, whatever. Again, I went back and forth on whether I wanted to discuss this because, and I think this is the platform to do it. And this is one of the reasons why, guys, I created the Chris Phillips Show, because we don't have any other avenue of content where I'm able to talk about things such as this and just give my takes on things such as this. And I can assure you there is no political anything about the take. I'm literally viewing this from a content lens. For those of you that don't know, I'm not a politics guy. I'm really not. I stay in my lane, and if you are, that's great. Listen, I equate people's politics to like when people talk about what they shoot on the golf course. Like, congrats or not, I don't really give a fuck. Like, I just don't care. Like, whatever your politics is, that's awesome. Whatever you shoot on the golf course, bro, you are the only one that gives a damn. I mean, really, truly, like, I don't care, bro. Like, hey, is this putt good? Bro, take it. I don't give a damn, because the only person who cares what you shoot is you. Unless we're gambling, that's about it. Like, ain't none of us playing in the PGA Championship. This ain't a qualifier, bro. We out here just fucking around. Like, I don't care. I genuinely don't. I stay in my lane, which is I like to talk about things that I like to talk about. Politics is not one of them. So, you know, there was a little bit of a stir made when I said on Friday that, you know, I wouldn't have the president on my show. That's just not an opportunity that I am yearning for, that I would want to take advantage of. The aftermath of what has happened with Josh Pate since that conversation, It only reconfirms my decision, to be totally honest with you, because it has been a nightmare. And one of the biggest reasons I'd pass on the opportunity is because I tell you this, guys, like I've been doing this for 9 years. Like I've been in this space for 9 years and even longer if you kind of like just how long I've been on social media. But I've put myself out there in this space for 9 years. And I have seen how crazy sports takes make people. But if you think people get crazy over sports, brother, politics is a whole other sphere. I don't care what side you're on either. Just in general, people will lose their minds over the shit. It'll make the way people lose their mind over sports, it'll pale in comparison. So anyways, getting to the point, I was able to watch this conversation with Josh Pate and Donald Trump. And I think there's lessons to be learned, not even from the conversation itself, but from the aftermath of it all. And I will say this before we get going too. I'll just address this because I'm sure there's many of you tuned in or who will listen to this who you're not naive. You've been following along for a while. Josh Pate and I have a very interesting history. I'll never forget. I had Josh Pate on my show back in 2021, way before he popped off. Kind of he was on the come up still. He was doing his thing, but he was far from where he is now. Right. Had him on the show in 2021. Great conversation. We just followed each other back and forth for a while. Had him on the show in 2024. Great conversation. Again, followed each other. Whatever. He's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. And then we come to last August. And listen, guys, like I've been trying to venture more into, I don't just want to talk sports from the standpoint of, I also enjoy talking about things like entrepreneurship, the media space, which I think there's things that I think are really interesting in the media space. And so I gave a take on some content that he did with the boys over at Outkick. Nothing personal, no love lost, just thought the content was dog shit. And I said it, I thought it was dog shit. And Josh Pate, of course, went out of his way to try to make my life a living hell with his following, which I was actually really impressed. I was like, I didn't know Josh Pate had attack for him. Sure enough, they did. Haven't interacted with him since, haven't followed him since. The rest is kind of history. But there's no hard feelings. It is what it is. I mean, listen, you throw out a take on social media, especially with a guy who's got his following, things like that can happen. So it's all good. It's all good. So everything I say, again, there's no wish Josh Pate nothing but the best. Wish Josh Pate nothing but the best. There's no ill will. There's no animosity. There's none of that. It just is what it is. How you play in this game, if it's a matter of when it's going to be your turn on social media to go through the ringer, which ironically enough plays into the conversation I'm about to have. First things first, I thought the conversation sucked. The content sucked. And I think if you gave Josh Pate truth serum, he'd tell you it sucked. I mean, it was a 10-minute convo in which the thought process was, okay, this is going to be a conversation about NIL and the portal and things that can actually help college football, which is great. It was none of that, dude. It was none of that. Like, and what stood out to me today and thinking about it, how the conversation sucked? Imagine having the president of the United States on your show and not posting a clip from it. Not even posting a clip from it, like that in our world, that is nuts. But that's how shitty the convo was. I mean, there was just, it has nothing to do, remove who the person is. The convo was just so bland. There was nothing to it. Like, why does your audience as a college football show care about how Donald Trump picks his employees? Like, what value? There was that, and that's a great point. There was no value to the end consumer there. It was maybe like you viewed it, it was great for you, but at the end of the day, you serve your audience. And there was no value from that convo to your audience. And I don't care what side of what you're on, but I would assume most of Josh Pate's following, seeing as he's positioned as a college football show, are college football fans. What did the college football fan get out of that conversation? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. And I saw, obviously, and listen, I don't knock Josh Pate for having Donald Trump on his show. Whoever somebody wants to have on their show is their business. It really doesn't matter to me. The points I'm making are have nothing to do with that. Listen, I get it. You want to have the president on your show? By all means, go ahead. I have that literally means nothing to me in this. But I just thought the convo sucked, man. And I think if Josh Pate was honest, he'd say it sucked too. And there's a part of me that feels for him because I doubt, and I don't think this is something he can probably come out and say because of the optics and the way it would look. But I imagine he'd love to come out and say, yeah, that combo didn't really go how I hoped it would. But, you don't want to piss off the president's people. You don't want to piss off all these other people. You don't want to piss off the people that set that up. I think he'd probably admit that he thought it sucked. But here's what's more interesting. Whatever. There's not a whole lot to even discuss about the interview. The interview itself sucked. The conversation sucked. There wasn't a whole lot to come from it. Again, I think he even would admit that. That's not a pro or anti Josh Pate take. That's not a pro or anti Donald Trump take. That's just hey guys, the content wasn't great. There just wasn't a lot to it. There wasn't a lot of substance from it. What's been more interesting though has been the aftermath. And I think there's lessons we can learn here from what happened with the Josh Pate, Donald Trump thing and Josh Pate's actions since. And again, like I said, a part of me has sympathy for Josh Pate because Josh Pate's reaction to all of this and the way that he justified his conversation with Donald Trump, it comes off as a guy who's never dealt with any sort of backlash ever in his entire career. And let's be fair, Josh Pate hasn't really ever dealt with real serious backlash, right? Well, why is that? Yeah, Josh Pate's gotten some crap for his model and his rankings and whatever. We all do. But I'm talking about really get put through the ringer. To be fair, this is no knock on Josh, but it is just the reality with his content. Josh plays the middle. Josh Pate's not the place you go where you're getting real critical analysis and opinions and saying things that might piss people off, right? So when you avoid doing that, and I get it, right? When you're in an industry where you are, let's call it for what it is, when you are dependent on access, right? You're dependent on coaches wanting to come to your show in the offseason. You're dependent upon people liking you, so they want to give you credentials and sideline access and tour you around the facility. I totally get it. You got to make sure everything's Gucci with all your people. So you can't go out there. Your creative control and what you can say is limited, right? Because I can't go out there and say Kalen DeBoer is a bum. I can't go out there and say, Shane Beamer's on the hot seat. They may not want to invite me back when I say that. So I get it. But when you do that, you avoid ever being in the getting put through the ringer necessarily because you're never really saying anything to that degree to where people are really going to get pissed off. So Josh Pate's dealing with this for the first time. And there's a part of me that has sympathy for him because I am someone in my career, quite the opposite. I've been through the ringer on social media more times than I can count. I've had people try to cancel me off the internet. I've had people reach out to my sponsors and my business partners and get them to take money out of my pocket. I've faced this at every turn. I've had people say the most horrendous shit imaginable about me on social media, and it still happens to this day. I've had to answer questions to friends and family and loved ones and people I was in relationships with, and I've had opportunities, business opportunities that have been taken off the table because they were like, they're not in this social media world, and they see some crazy shit like that, and they're like, dude, I don't know. I don't know that I can work with you. Like, if there's anyone who understands getting backlash on social media and the craziness, specifically of Twitter, because that's where it's coming from, right? That's Twitter can be a cesspool, and I think we see that on a daily basis. If there's anybody who understands it, though, it is me. So I can speak very well on this topic. I haven't gotten backlash probably to the level that Pate's getting it right now because his profile is much bigger than mine. I've never had an interview that sparked this type of of banter and discussion and debate and just this divide, if you will. So I have sympathy for him. I have sympathy because I can tell you, as human beings, we're not wired to go on social media and see this craziness, especially when it's negativity against us. I mean, you're not wired to go to social media and somebody comment and call you a piece of shit. You're not wired to go to social media and see someone attack your character, attack your looks, attack your integrity. You're just not wired for it. And thankfully for me, like, I've gotten to a point in my life to where, and maybe this is sad, but it's just the reality of what we do. You develop rhino skin in this industry. Like, I've seen it so much now, it doesn't even move the needle for me. It really doesn't. Like, you can't say something so bad that would move the needle for me. Like, I've heard the worst of the worst. It can't get any worse. Anything you could say that's negative against me, I have seen it. That's why, like, I don't get bothered when people comment on our predictions. Like, that guy's a fucking idiot. This guy's stupid. He's ugly. I'm like, bro, I love this banter. This is way better than what it could be, because I know what it could be and how bad it could be. I mean, like I said, I've lived through it. Josh Pate has not. So I have sympathy for Josh Pate because I know the toll it can take on you mentally. And we're probably never going to know, because Josh Pate, for as real and as genuine and authentic as he is with his audience, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know that he'd ever open up and be totally honest about something like this, because I think he wants to keep this image. And again, I don't know. I could be totally off. But I won't be surprised if Josh wants to keep this image of, like, I am Josh Pate. Like, I am above all this. I am superior to all of this. Where it's like, homie, I know you're going through it, bro. Like, I get it. I get it. I've been there first fucking hand. I deal with it every day. I know you're probably going through it mentally right now. And you try to block it out and you say it doesn't affect you. I've been there, bro. But it does. It's fucking hard, especially if you've never dealt with it. So I have sympathy for Josh Pate from that standpoint, because human beings, we're just not wired to deal with it. Now, where I don't have sympathy for Josh Pate, there's a great lesson to be learned here. I talked about it earlier. Your responsibility to your audience is to deliver on the value that you say you're going to deliver. The market never lies. Your audience will never lie. So when you put out a piece of content, or when you do something, and everybody has freedom to like or dislike whatever decisions you make, people you have on, commentary you have, whatever it might be. There's a couple areas where Josh Pate misstepped here. And I'm speaking from experience. I've learned these lessons along the way. Listen, I've been humbled. I've had my ego checked many, many times, to where I've had to try my best to kill the ego, right? Like, I've been through the ringer, I'm trying to say. So I'm not speaking from a holier than thou, I'm looking down on you. I'm speaking right here with you. Like, I've been there. Hell, I go through it still on a daily basis. Like the evolution and the learning never stops. But your responsibility is to your audience, right? And respectfully, not trying to single Josh Pate out because he's not the only one. There's a lot of people in this media space that talk to their audience and not with their audience. They try to talk to them, almost talking down to them. I am the authority. I am the law. What I say goes. My word is gold. And you know, when you get in a position like he's been in, you can act that way. I mean, it's going to turn some people off. But you can act that way. Cool. You're on. But in this instance, especially, respect is the foundation of everything. If you don't have respect, you just don't have anything. And you can't bullshit your audience. So when you come out and say, you know, 95% of the people that hate this, they're bots, you know, it's 10-1 people that love this versus hate this. That's a rough look, man. Like when you're belittling your audience and demeaning your audience, brother, your audience is why you are who you are. Why you are where you are. You are just a guy. You're just a guy with a mic and a camera. You're not special. You're not special. You're just a dude, bro. Like what we do is not that important in the grand scheme of life and in the grand scheme of things. So to come out and to say that, it shows a real disconnect. There is a very real disconnect between Josh Pate and his audience. I'm sure that when Josh Pate started, he was one of the common men. He was a common man. Over the years, Josh Pate has created this godlike complex where he comes off as if he is bigger, like he's bigger than the game. Brother, you got to respect the game. Part of the game is the audience. You got to respect the game. You're not bigger than the game. No one person's bigger than the team. No one person's bigger than the program. You gotten too big. And it's okay. Like, we have to learn lessons along the way. I've had my ego checked. Josh Pate has gotten his ego checked. He has gotten his ego checked. Because that's a very egotistical way to approach it, to come out after the way. And again, I'm not speaking from a holier than thou place. I'm speaking from I've learned from experience place. The way to come out after that is, hey, some of you are going to agree with my decision. Some of you are going to disagree. That's fair, and I accept all of it. But I stand behind my decision, and that's it. That's it. But to also take shots in the process and demean the audience and to demean the people who give you an opportunity to be who you are and do what you do is bullshit. It's bullshit. And again, it shows a real disconnect with the audience. The other part of this, guys, another misstep. Brother, if you're going to have that kind of commentary and motherfuck people that come after you for the decision you made, and are they all justified? No, some people are probably just hating to hate. Some people are way out of left field, and I agree, like personal shots shouldn't be part of it. People on social media take it way too far. But my brother in Christ, you can't turn the comments off. You can't turn the comments off. That's crazy. You got to be willing to stand behind it, man. You got to be willing to stand behind it when you make a decision like that. You know, you want to be in the spotlight. You want to be in the kitchen. You better be able to handle the heat. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? What did you genuinely think was going to happen? You got to be willing to handle the heat, man. Cutting off the comments is bullshit. That's weak shit. That's super weak shit. That's super weak shit. And so I think, to summarize kind of everything I've said here, there are lessons that I think content creators can learn from this. And Josh Pate, by the way, is going to be fine. He's going to keep it moving. If I had to guess, and this will never come out of his mouth, but in his heart of hearts, he regrets it. I think in his heart of hearts, he probably regrets the decision. He probably regrets ever having Donald Trump on his show because the juice ain't been worth the squeeze, man. The viewership on it's not even that great. And I tell you this, if 95% of the people that are bashing him are bots, I think I've seen probably 90 of the 95% because, brother, I have seen nothing on the timeline other than him getting dragged. I mean, dragged. Again, a lot of it over the top, but welcome to Twitter. I mean, welcome to Twitter. Again, if there's anybody that knows, I've been right there. But he's been getting dragged. So, couple lessons I think we can learn here. Number one, if you're going to have somebody on the show who's controversial, if you're going to make a controversial decision for your business, if you're going to say something that's controversial, be willing to stand behind it. Don't turn the comments off. Stand 10 toes on that decision you made. Stand 10 toes on that thing that you did. It's weak shit to do otherwise. The second thing, talk with your audience, not to your audience. I think the moment you disrespect your audience, you have lost. I think you've lost your way. Like, you have put yourself, and this isn't a Josh Pate take, this is just in general, like when you lose respect to your audience, here's what's happened. You have put yourself in an echo chamber and around so many yes men who stroke your ego and make you think you're the best in the world and like you've made it and you're great and you're this and you're that. You've put yourself in such a scenario where like you can't be told shit. You have no respect for the people who make it possible for you to do what you do. And that's a place where you got to stop yourself and say, I've let this get too far. I've let this get out of hand. I need to check my own ego and I need to humble myself. Humble thyself, King. Humble thyself. You need to be humbled. I was trying to think, is there a third lesson in this? I think that might be the only two. The third lesson would be everyone needs to experience an ego death. You're not bigger than the game. You're not bigger than the program. These crazy egos we have in sports media. Brother, you're literally just a guy with a microphone and a camera. You're a roach on a rock. It ain't that fucking serious. You're not that fucking important. There are so many fucking people in our space that think they walk on water. It's like, dog, respectfully, if you want it to come from me, brother, you're an employee. You work for someone else. If there's anybody who should let the ego run rampant, brother, I built something from nothing and nobody tells me shit. Like, especially when you got ego to the people in the space, I'm like, brother, why would you have an ego to me? The only thing you're going to serve me is I could hire you. I can't be fired, my man. Like, I just don't get why people like, who do you think you are? You're just a guy. You're literally just a guy. That being said, you have to have some ego to sit behind a mic, sit behind a camera. There has to be some ego involved here for me to say, y'all care what I have to say. Why would you care what I have to say? But there has to be some ego involved where you're like, I have that confidence and that belief and a little bit of ego in there that you will care what I have to say. But you will learn from my young content creators out there, hell, young and old. You need to kill the ego as much as possible because it will be your downfall. If you let it take over and you let it rule your decision making and you let it rule your energy, it will be your downfall. Ego is the Enemy, one of my favorite books by Ryan Holiday. Ego is the enemy. The ego is the enemy. All you need on this journey is fuel to get to the top. I've talked about this before. All you need is fuel, but when you're fueled by ego, you can get to the top, but you're going to run into headaches and you're going to run into certain things along the journey that you don't want. You don't want, that are going to be a product of the ego running rampant. That's how you get out ahead of your skis. That's how you disrespect. I think that's how you really just lose sight of what's important. When you let the ego run rampant, that's how you lose sight of what's really important. So, again, I debated whether I wanted to talk about this or not, but it is a fascinating. It has been a fascinating last couple of days seeing how this has unfolded. And again, I forget the political side. Doesn't matter. This could have been any guest at all. This could have been any guest. But the fallout from it, to me, has been more interesting. And I think there's more lessons to learn from the fallout. So that's my take on it. Love it or hate it, it is what it is. It's all good. So for some reason, again, I don't know why I can't see that. Like, I had the comments thing closed, but I can't see that I had new comments. Yeah, listen, and I will say this. I wish Josh Pate nothing but the best. He's going to continue to succeed, guys. I mean, listen, the guy does really good work. He has the biggest names in college football on his show. I mean, listen, he's going to go on his spring tour and have coaches on. And I don't know that people will forget that this happened, but it's like anything else on social media. It's a damn 24-hour rule. That's what I'm saying. Are the lessons to be learned. He made it worse. He did make it worse by the aftermath, but it'll all blow over. He'll be totally fine. I really wanted to speak on I think there's lessons to be learned, and there's a lesson to be learned for Josh Pate too. And I'm very curious to see how Josh Pate responds to all this, because there's one of two ways you can go. You can double and triple down and say, I am mightier than thou, and y'all are stupid, y'all are wrong, and I am this godlike figure in college football. And at some point, the ego will be your downfall. Or you can humble yourself, you can check your ego, and you can be better for it. And I think his audience would appreciate that. They would genuinely appreciate it if he checked his ego and said, you know what, guys, I fucked up. I shouldn't have come at my audience the way that I did. And that's sort of the end of it. But he'll be fine. I mean, dude, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. But certainly, yeah, I think it's safe to say that Juice was not worth the squeeze. Juice was not worth the squeeze. So, anyways, guys, let's get out of here. Really good stuff today. Really appreciate you all tuning in. Had a lot of fun. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out where you get your podcasts all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. As always, by the way, make sure you check out our friends over at Underdog, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at Underdog. Guys, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, block parties are back. Underdog's the best place to get on all the action. Playing Underdog super easy. Just pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. If you get your picks right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Download the app today. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code SECU. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 and up. 19 up in Alabama, Nebraska. 19 up in Colorado for some games. 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-MY-RESET or 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Guys, y'all are great. Really appreciate you all. As always, I'm Chris Phillips. This is the Chris Phillips Show every Tuesday and Friday, 1 o'clock Central. Till next time, y'all take care. Cheers.